Hi friends, how are you? Today I thought I would do a me update. I know I do a lot of updates on the small and how she's doing in our progress together, but today it is all about me. Anyway, I know in some of my vlogs I make references to a lot of appointments or being sick all the time, so I thought I would just take a minute and talk about how I am doing from head to toe. So let's start with my toes. This is a weird thing. So when I was in high school, I had my big toe partially amputated. I was in an accident where my foot got smashed, and after months and months and months and months, they decided that the bone was completely shattered and the best way to go forward was just to remove part of my big toe. It's not a big deal at all. Like, it was so long ago, and other than the fact that my foot looks kind of funny and it's kind of ugly, it's not a big thing. And so I don't know if I had mentioned that in one of my videos or something, you know, hashtag 9toes or whatever, but there is this creepy guy who has commented on some videos, and he sent me a Facebook message, and then today he even sent me an email to my work email, which I work for a public university, so it's not that challenging to find my email, but it's totally weird. He's like, oh, I heard that you had your toe amputated and I do toe prosthetics, which I'm gonna ask Michael because I don't think that's a thing. He's like, I'm just really fascinated in your story. I'm like, there's not a story, it's not a thing, you're being creepy, stop it, stop it. So those are my toes, there's no story there. Anyway, but moving on to my knees. So like I have talked about before, when the small was learning to ride her bicycle, I crashed and burned attempting to help her or watch her or whatever. So I fell and bashed up my knee pretty badly, and it kind of escalated to the point where it was hurting and hurting for months and months. And so they sent me for an MRI. And before that, I was kind of excited because I've had an MRI before for my back, and I kind of enjoyed it, you know, I was all the way in the tube, I could listen to the beeping sound, and I thought it was kind of not fun, but a lot more fun than a colonoscopy. Anyway, so I had to have an MRI of my knee, and it was horrible. I hated it. So I was only partially in the tube, so I was lying there and my head was kind of out of the tube, but my legs were in the tube, and so that was very disoriented. I felt like I was gonna fall off the table because you're on this tiny little thing. And so I didn't feel like I was kind of secure like I was when I was in the tube, and I could hear the noise, but it sounded like it was like shooting into my leg. And I was having a really hard time lying still because you're there on your back. Oop. Sorry, I just kicked the camera. So you're there on your back, and they had my knee kind of propped up, and it's really hard when your leg is propped up to not kind of move it or wiggle a little bit. And so the lady got really upset with me. She's like, I'm gonna have to start the test all over again. You keep moving. I was like, I'm sorry. Anyway, but I got the results back, and I was sent to a knee surgeon, and the story is I have a dent or a crack on the inside of my kneecap. Only me. So apparently when I fell onto my knee, like my other bones pushed into the back of my kneecap and dented it or cracked it. And so that's pretty serious. And so he said, this is a serious injury. However, it's not one that they can repair. They don't do knee replacements, or they don't do like kneecap replacements, so they can't just give me a new patella. And he said that I'm gonna somehow have to work around the pain that I do have. So it pretty much, it just hurts. It does hurt when I kneel down, so he said no more kneeling. And if I'm walking or being super active. Do I have something? Never mind that, just got a little speck on my glasses. I'm a mess. Anyway, so it hurts a lot if I'm walking a lot or being a lot more active, or extending my legs super straight or whatnot. It does hurt. But yeah, so he says if they were to try to do a surgery and kind of shave off and make it smooth where that dent is, he said there would probably be, the recovery time would be really long, and there's no guarantee that that would really fix some of the other pain. It could make things worse. So he says that this probably will speed up my road to needing a knee replacement in the future, but that because I'm not that old, I'm only 33, he doesn't recommend getting the surgery now. But yeah, so dented patella, great. I'm kind of bummed because I haven't gone back to spin class, and I was really kind of getting into that at the gym, and so I think that it would hurt quite a lot because that's quite a lot of pressure on your knees. So I'll have to try it and see how that goes. But yeah, I'm a little bummed about that. And then moving on to my face issues, other than the fact that I can't apparently keep my glasses clean. So I have had, and I know I've talked about this a ton of times, problems with my sinuses or my allergies and with my throat and my tonsils and all of that stuff. And I've been working for like 2 or 3 years trying to figure out what the problem is. So finally I was referred to an allergist to get allergy testing to see if maybe it all really is just allergies. I can get on allergy shots and start feeling better. So I went in for the allergy skin test, which is pretty much voluntary torture with like a $30 copay. So they do the scratch test on your back, where they pretty much just they kind of just like scratch your back with the stuff that could irritate you. But because I'm an adult, which I don't know why they make you do it then. They're like, well, a lot of times we don't get good readings on adults just doing the back scratch test. We have to inject your arm. So I got 22 injections of little, like all down my arm, and so you look crazy because they mark up your arm with what they're injecting you, you know, like mold, ragweed, cat, dog, all over your arm, and then they just inject a tiny amount under your skin and see if you react to it. So that was super painful. I mean, not only does it start itching if you're allergic to the stuff, but also just the fact that you've had 22 different injections really hurts after a while. So come to find out, I am only really allergic to cats and dogs, which I already knew. So that was fine to get that confirmed, but I was hoping maybe that I was allergic to some stuff in the air or whatnot that maybe allergy shots could help, but they don't really treat you with shots for pets, especially because I don't have a cat or a dog. But it was nice to kind of get that crossed off the list as, okay, that's not why I always have a runny nose and all these sinus issues or whatever. So I went to the ear, nose, and throat people again for the 3rd or 4th time, and I get so disappointed when I go there because they're kind of like, well, it's not that bad, you know, we're not going to take your tonsils out. Okay. I mean, even though I keep getting strep throat, you know, once or twice a year, they're like, well, you have to get it 7 times a year. I'm like, okay, great. So they're leaving my tonsils in, which are fine, except my tonsils have started to change. So the last time I was there, you know, it looks almost like there's like gashes or whatever in there. Sorry, not to be graphic, but and the lady said, oh, well, yeah, that's pretty normal because of all of the sore throats you get. Your tonsils are going to change and they're going to look different and you're going to have like sores on them. And I was like, that sounds horrible. Like, why would I want sores? Okay, great plan. What is happening? Anyway, so that was that situation. So then they looked up my nose to figure out what's going on up there. And so I do have a deviated septum, but it's not super serious. And I don't really want a nose job. So like, I think my nose is fine. So I'm not kind of pushing them to fix that. And then another time I went in, I had a laryngoscope, I think that's what it's called. Where they put a camera up your nose and then down your throat, which was so painful, like super uncomfortable. And she said that she did see a lot of redness and sores and things in my throat. But again, she's like, well, it's not really from your sinus. It doesn't make any sense because the last time I was there, she said that that was rhinitis, like the continual swelling and inflammation of like your nose and why your nose always runs. Then she's like, no, it's reflux. It's coming up from your stomach. So I honestly feel like they just don't know what's happening and they don't really care to find out. But it's so frustrating because this is very expensive, you know, and one of the doctors finally said, oh, it looks like you've been trying to get this figured out for several years. And I said, yes, I do. Number one, because I don't have time to go to the doctor all the time, and I don't have the money to pay all of these like copays. I mean, the amount of money that I have spent just this past year in like copays, just in the past month to try to figure out what's going on is like $250. And I get frustrated because they'll say, especially when I went to the ear, nose, and throat doctor the first time, they kind of just do a general look over and are like, oh yeah, we'll try a nasal spray. Okay. You know, my primary care doctor had already told me that, and I was doing that. You know, the second time, we'll try this spray. Okay. Or, well, come back in a couple weeks if it's not getting better. I mean, obviously it's not getting better because that's why I'm here. I've been dealing with this for so long, so I don't know why I have to keep coming back for you just to like they should have done the scope to begin with, in my opinion. Like, I understand being cautious or wanting to not just jump to the most invasive thing, but I feel like if I'm going to see a specialist, it's because these like general rules of thumb of like, try a nasal spray, try doing this, try that, are not working. So it's just frustrating I'm just frustrated, and I wish that I could breathe better and that my throat didn't hurt all the time, because it just makes me grumpy. And I feel like they're telling me things like, oh, well, let's just, you know, I don't know what I want them to do, but or at least I feel like I want them to listen to me. I mean, I live in this body all the time. I understand that you went to med school and that you know this stuff, but at the same, like, listen to me what I'm telling you. I don't feel right. This isn't normal. You know, my normal everyday feeling shouldn't be this way. But anyway, enough of that soapbox. I'm just frustrated. Anyway, so finally, I guess the last thing to say about how I am feeling is I will just go ahead and admit that, like, I am going through a little bit of a depression, which I know I kind of make light of it about being in a depression, but I feel like that's the best way to describe it. I mean, I've kind of tried to fight it or say, oh, I'm just tired, or I don't feel well because my throat or my nose or all of that stuff. But in all honesty, like, I'm feeling kind of low, and it could be that I'm going through some really stressful times with some different situations going on or what. But I think at the end of the day, like, it's August. I tend to like go through something during this time frame in the past, so it's not totally unheard of to be like, okay, this is what's happening, like, check in about your mental health, like it's doing, you know, something's going on. But I will say that it's kind of different now, because I cannot just lie around in bed all day. You know, like, I have to get up and take her to school and all the places she needs to go. And not that she doesn't care that mommy doesn't feel well, it's just that she can't comprehend what that means, you know? So, I guess I'm trying to think of like what I'm doing to get over it, other than just deciding, and this is gonna sound like everything that I hate to say, but just deciding that I will move past this. Or like not allowing myself to kind of dwell in the fact that I'm not feeling well, like acknowledging, yes, I feel crappy. Like, I would love to be asleep for days and not go out and, like, you know, stay in my sweatpants, not eating anything, not washing my hair, but that's not an option. Like, rarely is it a good option, but now it's just not one at all. So I have to kind of keep powering through this, and that has been challenging to do as a parent. Is hard to, like, my situation as a parent is tricky enough, but then to try to parent while dealing with my own depression, which was preceded by hypomania, meaning I was super super agitated and upset with everybody, and now kind of feeling like I don't want to do anything ever. So it's been different because I can't really allow myself to get too far into any of those feelings. But so I don't know my point. Anyway, other than to say, maybe if I just say it, like, yes, hi, my name is Bethany and I am a parent and I have depression, then, you know, I can sort of move on to the next thing, because there are plenty of things that I need to move on to. But yeah, I don't know. So if you have time, think happy thoughts for me, because I could use them, because I'm going through a bit of a struggle with myself. Anyway, but I hope that you all are having a great day, and thank you so much for watching and being kind to me. I appreciate it. Subscribe if you want to see more of me. You know, all that stuff that YouTube people say. Do whatever you want. You do you. Anyway, have a great day. Bye.